The wind howled across the empty plains, carrying with it the scent of rain and blood. Rancher Eli Carter rode through the storm, his horse limping, its hooves sinking deep into the mud. He hadn't planned on finding anyone out here, not this far from town, not this late in the night. But as lightning flashed across the horizon, he saw it. A wagon turned over, horses gone, and beside it a figure lying still in the mud. He dismounted slowly, his boots sinking as he knelt beside the body. It was a woman, pale, barely breathing, her dress soaked in crimson. Her eyes fluttered open when he touched her hand. "Please, end this," she whispered, her voice raw with pain. A bullet wound bled through her side, and Eli could see she'd lost too much. He froze, rain running down his face, unable to answer. "Please," she said again, tears mixing with the rain. He looked away, jaw tight. "Not yet," he muttered. "Not tonight." Lifting her carefully, he placed her on his horse and rode toward his cabin miles away, the storm roaring behind them like the voice of God himself. By dawn, he had her laid on his bed, the fire crackling to life. He worked with rough hands, cutting the bullet free, wrapping her wounds, whispering to her as if words could keep her tethered to this world. When she screamed, he held her down, murmuring, "You're not dying here." She passed out before he finished, leaving him alone with the sound of her labored breaths. When she woke again, the room smelled of smoke and medicine. He was sitting by the fire, staring at her quietly. "Why didn't you let me go?" she croaked. "Because I don't bury strangers," he said. For days she hovered between life and death, sometimes waking long enough to whisper her name. Clara, a rancher's widow caught between feuding outlaws. Her husband had been killed, her land taken, and she'd been shot trying to flee. "They'll come for me," she said one night. "Then they'll come for you." Eli only nodded, staring at the flames. "Let them try." The next morning he saw the smoke of riders on the horizon. He loaded his rifle and stood outside the cabin, the old boards creaking beneath his boots. 5 men rode up, hard-eyed and armed, their leader grinning from beneath a black hat. "You've got something that belongs to me," he sneered. Eli spat in the dirt. "Ain't no one belongs to you." The standoff stretched until the wind itself seemed to hold its breath. When the first man reached for his gun, Eli fired. The crack echoed through the valley. 3 fell before they reached the door. The others fled, their courage shattered. When silence returned, he turned back inside. Clara lay still, tears glistening in her eyes. "You killed for me," she whispered. "No," he said. "I killed for peace." Weeks passed and her strength slowly returned. The wound healed, but something deeper lingered. Guilt, grief, a shadow that clung to her like the dusk. Eli didn't push her. He worked the land, repaired the fences, brought her wildflowers he pretended were for the table. She never smiled, not at first. But one morning she helped him with the horses, her hands trembling, her hair catching sunlight. "You don't have to stay," he said softly. She looked at him for a long moment. "I know," she said, "but I don't want to leave." From that day she stopped asking him to end it. Their days fell into rhythm, quiet, honest, raw. She learned to mend saddles, to cook, to ride again. Sometimes he caught her standing outside at dusk, whispering to the horizon. When he asked who she spoke to, she smiled faintly. "To the ones I lost," she said, "to tell them I'm still here." That night she cooked stew, and for the first time since he'd found her, they laughed, 2 broken souls sharing warmth in a world that had taken everything from them. For Eli, that laughter was worth more than gold, more than peace. But the past never stays buried in the West. One evening, a lone rider approached, carrying a black flag and a bounty notice. "Name's Clara Holt," he said, tossing the paper down. "Dead or alive?" Eli's stomach turned cold. She stepped out before he could stop her. "You want me?" she said. "Then take me." The rider laughed, raising his pistol. Before he could aim, Eli's rifle cracked. The man tumbled from his horse. Clara turned, eyes wide. "You can't keep doing this for me." Eli looked at her quiet. "Then let me do it for myself." They buried the bounty hunter beneath a mesquite tree and burned the notice. That night Clara packed her things. "I have to go," she said. "If I stay, they'll never stop coming." Eli's throat tightened, but he didn't argue. He handed her his revolver and a pouch of coins. "Then ride far," he said. "Find some place that don't remember our names." She hesitated, then leaned in and kissed his forehead. "You should have ended it that night," she whispered. "But you didn't. You saved me. Don't forget that." The next morning the cabin was empty, the fire cold. For months Eli lived in silence. The seasons turned, the land healed. One spring morning, as he repaired a fence by the creek, he saw a rider in the distance. It was her, older, stronger, her hair tied back beneath a dusty hat. She smiled faintly and lifted a small boy from the saddle. "Eli," she said softly, "this is my son." He stood there speechless as the wind carried their laughter through the valley again. In that moment, Eli understood. When she had begged him to end her pain, she hadn't wanted death. She'd wanted freedom. And somehow, through blood and fire, they'd both found it. The plains rolled quiet under the sun, and in that peace, a rancher who once faced death learned what it meant to give someone life.